Welcome to Thoughts of a Dog Man podcast, where we discuss hunting dogs. From mindset, training, to techniques, we offer many options to get you on the right track in your hunt dog journey. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about some dogs.
Big old coon too.
Obama.
Thanks, miss. Boy, if that don't make you smile, I don't know what it is, man. I don't. You need to check your post, bro. You did.
Welcome back. Man, I'm happy to see you. I'm glad you're here. I'm your host, Stevie Thomas of Ballin' Out Kennels. And I want to share what was on my mind or what my thoughts this week. Of course, it had to do with dogs. That's pretty much all I think about. So I was thinking, if there was a way for a new hunter, if there was a way to have a foundation to give them 100% success rate with hunting dogs, what would it be? Or what would be a part of that foundation? And kind of what made me start thinking about that was I do some youth hunts with Iowa Outdoor Mentors, which is an excellent program. If you're here in Iowa, definitely look it up. If you're not, you can check them out on Facebook and give them a like. But pretty much what we do, we take young hunters out. For me, it's usually rabbit hunting. We take them, they're 11 years old to maybe 18 or so. Still high school age students. But we take them out for a rabbit hunt. And usually how I like to do it, let's say I'll have 4 hunters that time. I will take them out one at a time. So we have a group of 4, and I'll take each one individually, and I try to put them in the best position to harvest a rabbit. And while I'm doing it, though, I'm actually talking them through what is actually going on. So as the dogs are doing their part, they're running a rabbit, or they're searching, whatever's going on, I'm taking that time with that hunter. That's their time. That's the time that I'm with them, and I really talk them through what exactly is going on. So I was out with one of the hunters, and the dog starts circling the rabbit back, and I'm just telling them, hey, we're gonna stand right here. Hey, be looking in this direction. More than likely, this rabbit is gonna pop up right here. And as the dogs are getting closer, I'm sharing with them, hey, okay, this we really want to kind of get quiet a little bit because this rabbit's coming. The dogs are actually running really good, so it makes it a lot easier to figure out where that rabbit's gonna be. So as the dogs are coming, they're still running good, they're closing the distance, and sure enough, that rabbit popped up right where I thought he was gonna pop up, and sure enough, that hunter was able to harvest that rabbit. And just to see the excitement that they have when they harvest a rabbit for the first time, knowing that they did everything, as you talk them through it, they followed exactly what you said, and sure enough, they were able to harvest that rabbit. You talk about the amount of excitement that a young hunter has. That's what it's all about for me. That really is what it's all about. But after that, he harvested his rabbit and he was super excited about it. As we're walking back to the other group, he just kind of asked me, he's like, man, how did you get so good with rabbit hunting? How'd you get so good with like knowing where they are? I'm like, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not good. I'm really not that good. I just found out a lot of ways how not to do something. I spent a lot of time in the woods making a lot of mistakes and figuring out what not to do. And somewhere along the lines, I stumbled upon what to do. And I had to tell them it's really about not being afraid to fail. You're going to be out there, you're going to do some stuff that's not going to work. But you have to have the mental strength to know, hey, it's a learning process. I'm not going to be excellent at this when I first started. And I think that might be one of the first fundamental principles on trying to get somebody 100% success rate with these dogs. Because I think it is actually feasible. And the reason I say that, and I think the real foundation of it is trying to have them understand that you have to build a mindset for yourself. It's easy to really go out there and look at social media or YouTube and see these other people who are having really success with the dogs. Um, and you really start to wonder, like, man, these guys are having all this success. Can I really do this? Or can I not do it? Or if you are in the phase of where you actually have a dog and you're really starting to kind of work through training them and they're not quite doing exactly what you want them to do or you think they should be doing, you may start to question, like, man, I must be doing something wrong. I can't do it. I'm not good at it. It's just not going to work for me. It's really have to come to a point to where you have to compete with yourself. You have to develop that mindset and knowing that, hey, I'm not competing against everybody else I see. I developed the matrix on my own to where I made a plan. I had an understanding of where do I want to be. I have a puppy. Let's just say a puppy, for instance. At 6 months old, I want this puppy to be doing X, Y, and Z. So you have to backtrack that to get that puppy to do whatever you want at 6 months old. One, you have to be realistic on it. Is it really real for this puppy to be able to do what you want him to be doing at 6 months old? A lot of us want dogs to be running, whether it's tree and game or showing tree mindedness. And for people who don't know, tree mindedness is basically a dog is willing to tree. They're they know game goes up a tree and they're willing to bark at something that goes up a tree. Or we want them to, sight chase rabbits. We want them to get in the brush. We want them to do all these sort of things at 6 months old. But sometimes that's not always realistic. And that can develop a lot of discouragement and people, especially new hunters, thinking that the matrix is, oh, I have to have them doing this at 6 months old. If they're not doing that at 6 months old, oh, this dog isn't good. That's not always the case. You, as the new hunter, have to develop your own mindset on where you want the dog to be at that point in time. And I think it really comes back to understanding why. I think a person who has a why can really withstand the hows of it all. And what do I mean by that? Pretty much, if you can determine why you're doing this, why do you even want to have hunting dogs? Why are you even, what dog did you pick? Why did you pick beagles? Or why did you pick tree dogs? Or why did you pick the bird dog you picked? Trying to really understand in your mind for yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Because that foundation is really going to get you through the tough times of training when things aren't going the way you want them to, or when you're out there actually hunting and you can't hit the broadside of a barn, or the dog is not quite doing what you taught him to do at the house, figuring out that why. And that's very individual to each person. But understanding, why am I doing this? What's the why behind why I want to do it? For me at first, I was really starting out, I just wanted to harvest rabbits. That was really what it was. And I didn't want to do it by myself, because if you didn't catch the last episode, I talked about how we used to hunt railroad tracks. We didn't have any dogs. Outside of that, as I got older, I was doing a lot of hunting by myself. And I figured there had to be an easier way or even a better way to do it with hunting rabbits by yourself because it's pretty tough. Yeah, you can go in and kick the brush and stuff like that, but you have to be on point and ready to shoot at the same time because you really have no idea where that rabbit is going to come out. You can have a good idea that, okay, this rabbit should be in this brush pile right here, but you have no idea where he's going to come out. And more times than not, he's not going to come out where you want him to. So it's like, okay, I wanted to have another option on harvesting rabbits. That was my main goal. And as I started to develop my dogs and started to hunt with different people, my why kind of shifted. It really took away from harvesting rabbits and it became training. It became making these dogs the best that I can make them. And what does it take? What does it take to make these dogs as good as I want them to be? And again, that also too, I would say would be a number two to it is really figuring out for yourself what you want that dog to be. You have to develop, and that's gonna take some time. It's gonna take time and gonna take a lot of seeing what's out there, going and talking to people, going to different clubs, getting around these dogs that you want to be. Again, whether that's beagles, whether that's tree dogs, whether that's point and bird dogs, getting around as much as you can different types of dogs. And as you do that, you'll start to develop, okay, I really liked how that dog started running. I really liked how that dog ran a track. Or I really liked, oh, when you cut that tree dog loose, he was gone. It didn't take him long at all to hit the woods and get some tree. Or bird dog world, you cut that bird dog loose and he's weaving. He's doing everything you want him to do in a nice fashion. So then you start to slowly develop what you actually like in a dog. That's part of it. That's the fun of it. But until you can figure that part out, a lot of this other thing can kind of get you pointed in the wrong direction. So I think one of the foundation principles is really figuring out what your mindset is, figuring out what type of dog you actually want, and being realistic about it. Again, you have to also make it measurable. Again, we talked about, at 6 months old, I want my dog to be doing this, or a year old, I want my dog to be doing this. You really have to, again, take time and really write down what I want my dog to be doing and really pay attention. Really pay attention to it. Write it down. How many times are you training this dog? A lot of us are 9 to 5 people where, hey, we have to go to work during the week and we have our weekends off. You can do a lot in just 15 minutes while feeding your dog that can benefit you down the road that you may not even, consider. So there's always a training opportunity if you're paying attention for it. Again, that's measurable. So as you're continuing to go, you're really paying attention and celebrate the small wins of that dog. You really have to celebrate those things because if you look for the big picture, you're going to miss the small, minute things that the dog's actually doing to show you that he's understanding what you're wanting him to do. And really, you have to pay really close attention because there's always small wins. But on the flip side of that, you can start to realize, okay, this dog is not quite picking up what I'm wanting him to do. So maybe it's time to take a step back or reevaluate or figure out another way to get that across to that dog. Again, it's a learning process. It's going to take time, but understanding before you start where you want to be, understanding your process, and learning what you want that to be will get you pointed in the right direction. I think another point would be you have to continue to educate yourself. You have to continue to educate yourself. Again, that's getting around a lot of different dogs. That's reading material, reading books. I read books. I mean, listening to podcasts. All these sort of things can at least give you some options on helping you be a better dog man, better dog woman, just a better dog person in general. Um, it can help. You have to always be learning because you get to a point to where you think you know it all. You stop learning, you're gonna regress. You're already going backwards because there's so many things that we don't know, and just going about it as, oh, I already know, you're gonna turn off so many other opportunities. You know, so I do some field training. I'm a police officer. I'm a field training officer as well. So sometimes when we're taking new recruits, um, it's kind of funny because you don't set them up for a bad situation, obviously, but different phases. We have phase one, two, three, and four. Basically, the first phase, they're doing 25% of the work. Second phase, they're doing about 50% of the work. Third phase, 75, and then fourth, they're pretty much doing it all on their own. You're just kind of, making sure it's going smooth. But you get a officer, a new recruit to a certain phase, let's say two or maybe three, and they start to get a confidence about themselves as they should, and you start to hear, oh yeah, I know that. Oh, I know. Yep. You start trying to tell them something. And each phase you go through is a different officer. So you're learning, they're getting a hand at different officers. Different officers do something different ways. So they may come to you and you're trying to explain something to them or show them a different way of how you may do it. You're like, oh, yeah, yeah, I know. So using those situations, I let the recruit go and do, an activity, handle a call by themselves and figure out if they really know what they're doing or not. Again, you don't ever let it get out of hand or any of that sort of stuff. But that I know can really cut someone off from trying to teach it, from trying to teach you something. Because you really don't have an idea of how they're going to explain something to you. In that moment, you may know what to be doing, what you should be doing in that very moment. But the way somebody else could explain something to you could be information that you can use on another call down the road. But if you already cut them off, oh yeah, I know how to do that, you have no clue how they're going to deliver that information to you, and you could possibly use it on another situation or another scenario. It's the same with dogs. If you have somebody there trying to explain on a training method that they like to use, and you like, oh yeah, this is how I do it, I know how to do that. Again, you don't have any clue on how they're going to deliver that information. That eventually, if you're around these dogs long enough, you're going to come across a dog that is hard headed. You're going to come across a dog that learning a little bit slowly, a little bit slower than, other dogs you've had in the past. But what you cut that person off from sharing with you could have been what you could use a technique for this new dog. So you have to be open minded. You really have to be open minded. Again, being new to it, this is the fun phases of it all, because you should be a sponge. You really should be soaking in and getting around people um, who are willing to teach. There's so many good Facebook groups out here, and obviously here at Ballin' Out Kennels, everybody's welcome. We're trying to develop a community and a family to where we're celebrating new and young hunters. That's what we're gonna do, because I know there are times where people may not have somebody in their corner and they want to do something. Somebody in their family may not hunt, but they have a drive and they want to hunt. That's what we're here for. Of course, with anything else, you have to be consistent. Being consistency will outdo so many other people. We used to talk about it in sports a lot, even through high school and college, to where if you're a consistent person and you have a person who has talent, if you're more consistent and that person who has talent isn't, you're going to outwork and outpace that person, because they're relying solely on their talent. They're not quite putting in the same amount of work you do. Eventually, you will surpass them. And imagine if you did double the work, you're going to pass them that much faster. And once you do, you stay on it. And before long, you're going to get to a point to where no matter what they do, they can't pass you. And I got that really from Kobe Bryant. Was one of my favorite athletes my whole life. That's anybody who really knows me, and I'm sharing with my family here on the podcast, that Kobe was one of my favorite athletes. Just the mentality that he had, to where he was doing 2-a-days when everybody else was having one practice. Sometimes he was doing 3-a-days when everybody else was just having one practice, based on the mentality of, I'm going to outwork you. And by the time you catch on to what I'm doing, I'm going to be so far ahead of you that there's nothing you can do to catch up. Again, putting in that consistent work and trying to understand that dog will take you so much further, so much further. And it's really understanding. Don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. Take it as a learning lesson. Instead of thinking, oh man, I don't know how to do this. Well, I just figured out a way on how not to do it. I'm going to continue to work and progress and figure out how this dog thing works. That's all you can really do. That's all we're really here for. It's a learning process. So continuing to perfect the craft of dogs. Perfect it. Because I tell you what, no matter what somebody else is doing, if you in your mind have decided, I'm going to be good at this, I don't care how long it's going to take, I don't care what I have to do, you are already light years ahead of some other people. But again, it also goes back to not always competing with someone else. Fuel your own fire. Fuel your own fire. Don't let negativity of what somebody else is doing be your fuel. Now, if you're that type of person, I can understand that. Again, I've been an athlete my whole life. I completely get it. But you have to figure out what is going to work for you, that's going to help you get to where you want to get to with these dogs. Again, I don't care if it's tree dogs, beagles, bird dogs. It truly does not matter. But you have to figure out what you want to do, how you want to do it, and get around people who can help you do it. Just don't stop. Just don't stop. Show up every single day. Show up every day to get a little bit better. And when you look up, you're going to be way better than you thought you were. It's all a process. But hey, we got to pay some bills. Let's take a word from our sponsor. Hey, real quick, are you somebody who's new to rabbit hunting with beagles, or maybe on the fence and trying to get started or not? You might want a little bit more help getting pointed in the right direction. Well, I got just what you need. Producing a future rabbit dog. So in this short little book, I pretty much lined out exactly what I like to do when I'm picking my puppies, when I'm training my dogs, and just some other concepts I've learned over the years. Me tied with a bunch of my mentors, put this together. A lot of this information is easy to follow. I want it to be as easy as possible for anybody who's never got in with dogs or rabbit hunting with beagles to be able to produce a future rabbit dog. So if you sound like that's you, go on and check it out on Amazon and grab you a copy. Social media, especially Facebook, can be an excellent place to really get your feet wet and figuring out what dogs are in your area. There's so many good hunting groups on Facebook that you can go out and look and see what type of dogs are in your area. If there's hunting clubs in your area, and reaching out to some of the club members or club, owners or presidents of the clubs, and just reaching out to them and saying, "Hey, I'm new. I'm new to the area. I'm new to this particular type of hunting dog. Again, beagles, tree dogs, bird dogs. I'm new to this type of dog. Is there any way that I can just come and spectate a hunt? Or is there any way that I can ask you some questions?" More times than not, those owners or those presidents of those clubs or those club members are going to welcome you with open arms. And if they don't go to that club. I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't. But if there's a situation where they're not, then just try a different place. There's going to be a place that you can call home where somebody is there willing to show, teach, and just be around as you start developing and getting your foot in this game. Because we all need each other. It's part of it. So social media is a really good place to start. But I will say one caveat, one thing to consider, one thing to keep in the back of your mind is not developing envy. A lot of times you can sit on social media and you watch the video of these dogs doing excellent jobs, and your dog may not be in that position just yet. You start thinking like, man, how does this dude have what he has? Like, how does he get all these good dogs all the time? Or, you know, where did he get them from? Is these dogs really that good? I'm seeing all these videos, but are they really that good? It's like a lot of times people are willing to share that information, or you can learn from them. At least that's how we like to operate over on this side. Is we're gonna share the information. Because again, at some point in time, somebody shared that information with you. Yes, there's a lot that we learn and develop on our own just because we put in a lot of time. But there's usually somebody who has been there and helped you along the way. But you have to do it in a respectful manner. I think that's one of the big things, being a new hunter, is really approaching the situation in a respectful manner. Being a person who say and do what they say they're going to do. If you're on a person who's going to go to a club and trying to get your foot wet at the club and trying to get your name out there and just trying to be a person who um, can really, who really just starting, being that person, and you reach out to them and you say, "Hey, I want to show up and do this," show up and do it. You don't want to start off on a wrong foot being somebody who is a talker. There's a lot of them out there, and I want you to have a foundation principle for 100% success. Being just a talker is not that. I'm sorry, it's not. And I'm not trying to jump down your throat on it. I'm just being 100% honest with you. Because there's a lot of individuals out there who love to talk about it, but they really actually are doing anything. I want you to have success. So I know for me, it can be frustrating where someone who wants to hunt with you and wants to ask you a lot of questions, which is awesome. You offer to take them, they take the offer, and then they don't show up. I understand life happens, there's something going on. Perfect. I get it. I'm understandable about that sort of stuff. So then, they ask again, they offer again, and then something else comes up. Again, life happens, but you don't want to start off on the wrong foot of just being someone who talks about it and not actually do anything about it. Don't get me wrong, we can talk dogs all day long, but just make it known that that's what you love to do. You're not really on the side of trying to start your own line of dogs, not trying to buy, new puppies, starting them that way. You're not trying to do any of that. You just love talking about dogs. Again, you're welcome. You're welcome over here. We can do that all day long too. We can do that all day long. There's nothing wrong with that either. Nothing wrong with it. But being a person who says what they're going to do and do it. Following through. Follow through is key. Follow through is so key. But not developing envy when you see on social media that someone may have good dogs, may have better dogs than you, or you got to think they may be further along than you are. They probably made way more mistakes than you have made at this point in time to get them to where they are. And some people, which is nothing wrong with this either, go buy a good dog. Until you can really start to develop your knowledge of training a dog, there's nothing wrong with going and purchasing a dog that's already doing it and learning from that point, learning from that dog. That dog can teach you so many things, especially being new, because you don't really know. You don't really know. But paying attention to what that dog is doing can also be something to get you off on the right foot. But you don't want to develop that envy or that jealousy and closing your doors before you even get them open. It's not going to help. It's really not going to help. And again, I want you to have as much success as possible. That's what it's for. That's what it's about, creating those memories. If I can be a small part of somebody creating a bigger memory or a bigger picture, that's what I'm all for. That's what it's about. Spreading this joy and love for hunting dogs is what it's all about. I think it's very, very important that you start off being an honest person. Just like most things we have in the world, it takes a long time to build trust with someone, but it takes an instant to lose it all. It's really no different with dogs. Your reputation of being somebody with dogs can go really far and wide, but as fast as a wildfire, it can all come back if you're not an honest person. I think that the community that we're trying to build over here is pretty much where your handshake and your word means something. We're really trying to get back to your handshake and your word means something. To where if it's somebody you're dealing with, either trying to come buy a puppy from you or you're buying a puppy from them, really being an honest person and telling them exactly what you're looking for, being honest on what the dog is if you're selling it, and just looking them in the eye again and having your handshake be what it is, what it should be, what it used to stand for. When our parents, grandparents, and other dog men and women before us, that's what it was. Their handshake was their bond. I think we really should get back to being that, and that should be a foundation of you starting out with these hunting dogs or dogs in general, making you make sure that you're a person who, when you say something, somebody can rely on your word. It's so easy to just go out and say, "Hell, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this for you. I'm gonna do that for you," or "This dog is this," or "This dog is that." And come to find out, you knew all along that this dog wasn't that, or this person wasn't this. Why would you even start that way? That's a real foundation principle, just being an honest person, because that would take you so much further. Because again, it'll only take a small instance to where somebody now doesn't trust you. And in this dog business, in this dog world, that means a lot. It can mean a lot. You'll learn pretty quick that if you're an honest person, the amount of people who are willing to help you out, the amount of people who are willing to even give you dogs to get started goes a long way when you're an honest person. Show the passion. Tell them the reason why you started getting with these dogs. Hey, my grandpa used to have dogs a long time ago, and I remember all the stories that he used to tell me. If it's honest and true, share those stories. And when somebody's there to reach for you and help you out, do the same thing down the road for someone else. I can't tell you how many dogs I've given away at this point, just because people have done that for me. You know, there's been times where I did, working dogs or whatever, and somebody will come along and be willing to gift me a dog. And it's like, why not do the same thing for somebody else? But I truly think it came with being an honest person. These dogs are going to be what they're going to be. You try to do the best you can in making them what they are, but they're going to be what they're going to be. And unfortunate that the dogs, for the most part, lives are shorter than ours are. We live longer than the dogs do. your name and your reputation and how you carry yourself will live on longer than the dogs will. We'll have fond memories of them. Do not get me wrong. I got, dogs I remember. But how are you going to be remembered as a person? I think that's something you really should consider even before starting. How do I want to be remembered? Yes, we share these excellent stories of how these dogs were. But you talk about the people who helped you along the way. Those are people you don't forget about. That's how you want to be remembered. That's how you should want to be remembered. Who have I helped along the way? Who has helped me along the way? And how can I give back to those people? That's really part of my why. There are so many people who have helped me along the way who didn't have to help, but they decided to take the time and saw something in me to do so. That's part of the why. For me, it's now to give back to people who, again, may not have a mentor, may not have anybody in their family who hunts, and they're trying to try something new. They may be nervous to try something new, just like all of us were at one point or another. You can't expect them to know everything when they first get started. Just like your parent, they couldn't get mad at you because you didn't know how to tie your shoe when they first showed you how to do it. You didn't know how to ride a bike when they first showed you how to do it. But again, they took the time, they showed you, and now you have a fond memory of that. That's how I want to be remembered, as somebody who's there to help somebody else. Again, these dogs will take you so many far places, and that's just something that was on my mind. It's how to get somebody a foundation for 100% success rate. It's really having a proper mindset. Start where you can start. Start where you can start. Everybody, all of us who have dogs started somewhere. And I don't care if that's starting with a puppy, or maybe you have to go buy a dog who's already started, and then that's your starting point. Start where you can start. Being realistic, understanding your why. Why are you doing it? What's the motive behind having these dogs? And if you're just somebody who wants to just go out there and harvest rabbits and it's not that deep for you, hey, you're welcome over here too. There's nothing wrong with that. You have to continue to educate yourself. Get around people who are willing to teach. A lot of hunters are willing to help new hunters, but you just got to ask the questions and ask the right people. Start developing a story and understanding that this is a process and not to get discouraged. You are enough. You can do it. And us at Ballin' Out Kennels, we're going to be here to help. The community that we're putting together, we're going to be here to help. We're going to celebrate you on your wins, and we're going to help you pick you up when, have a setback. That's what it's all about. That's what the hunting dog community should be is all about. That's what we're promoting here. These dogs spread far and wide, and there's many people that come before you, and there's many people going to be after you. Just play your part and being, there for it. Playing a small part in somebody else's success, playing a small part in somebody else's fondest memories. That's what it's about for me. That's what it's about here at Ballin' Out Kennels, is being that small piece. So again, those are just something I was thinking about this week. I hope it helped somebody. Again, I appreciate anybody listening to it. Hey, we're going to keep this thing rolling. And I'm Stevie Thomas of Ballin' Out Kennels. Stay sharp, stay real, stay houndy.